light in the sky, rising in the air. There's a feeling so strong. It's time to light the fire, like a bright shining light. Getting more out of life, sharing time with friends, feeling so strong.
Hello, welcome to the House of Wellness. I'm Luke Darcy and I'm happy always to be sitting alongside Joe Stanley. Hello, Joe.
It's lovely to see you, Darcy, as always. And we're both very excited as the countdown to Tokyo is well and truly on. And exciting for you to be part of the commentary team, Darcy.
Yeah, what a great honour, Joe. I'm genuinely pumped about the opportunity to work on the Olympics 2021. It's obviously a year delayed than it was meant to be. And I love the Olympics. I love the stories behind it and the sense of achievement. I feel like the world is looking for an event like this to be staged, to bring us together. There's a lot of fear at the moment. There's a lot of division. So hopefully the Olympics is going to be this fantastic event and we're going to capture some of the great stories, Joe.
I can't wait to hear you commentate some of the most obscure sports. Like, how are you going there?
Well, it's an interesting one, Joe, to get your head around because there's some fantastic new sports. Skateboarding's part of the Olympics, which I reckon is brilliant. You've got to get the next generation who want to, buy into what the Olympics means. We've got sport climbing, which is fantastic. Event karate for the first time, and the Japanese obviously have got a huge history in karate. So it's going to be fantastic. I'm really excited.
Well, take nothing for granted, Darcy. That's what this world of uncertainty has taught us. But I can't even begin to imagine how the athletes must be feeling. They have missed a whole year but had an extra year to train. So do you reckon that makes you stronger and more competitive or more anxious? Like, how does it change things for them? This
is the brilliance, isn't it? I love of sport and how did you cope with the idea that it was put back a year? People miss out by 1/100th of a second in qualifying, and then you have those amazing stories of someone who, has a personal best on the day and wins Olympic gold, changes their life forever. So that's the unknown, isn't it? And I mentioned the new sports. Surfing's in the Olympics as well for the first time. So there's going to be some 3-on-3 basketball, Joe. So there's lots to look forward to with the Olympics just around the corner.
But explain sport climbing to me. I don't really understand it.
Well, sport climbing is fascinating because the format is 3 disciplines. There's lead climbing, speed climbing and bouldering. So the winner is whoever performs best in all 3. But the traditionalists in sport climbing, because there's a speed element, are a little bit concerned as well about whether or not that is authentic.
Well, there's always some controversy, Darcy. It's one of the things I love about the Olympics. Around 450 Aussie athletes are going, and already the heart-rendering stories are coming out. Brandon Wakeling from the Gold Coast is Australia's first Indigenous Olympic weightlifter in 20 years, and it's swim star Kate Campbell's 4th Olympic Games. This is just amazing. The only 2 other Aussie swimmers, Liesl Jones and Emily Seebohm, have made it to 4 Olympics. So that's just an incredible achievement.
Absolutely amazing. Another Olympic hopeful who has an incredible story is Abdullah Azim, better known as Buster, Joe. He's competed for his country, the Gambia, at the 2018 Commonwealth Games, but he chose not to return to Africa because of the threat of violence.
Well, needless to say, as a refugee, Buster has faced some massive obstacles, both as a sprinter and simply to survive. So let's meet the athlete whose dream is to compete for Australia.
Gambia, things you see in the media and things you see the way we live inside Gambia, sometimes it's different. Right now, every day, they're killing people for no reason. Even like a little issue, like a little money or $20, $50, people are killing each other.
I was very ignorant about the state of refugees in this country up until meeting Buster, particularly after the Commonwealth Games. I'd read in the paper that there were a number that had decided to stay here.
Yeah, I met one guy in Gold Coast. He just told me like he's gonna help me, and he just gave me his contact number, and I just said, when you just go to Sydney, just ring me.
Got a bus to Parramatta, got off and was supposed to meet somebody there that ended up not showing up. And so he waited at the bus stop for the next 2 days in case this person came, and they didn't come. And he made his way under the bridge in Parramatta, and he was under there for quite a while with the druggos, the destitute, homeless. There's a lot of stuff hidden in our society, and he's seen the very worst of it.
I sleep under a bridge like for a week, go outside, find something to eat almost a week before I go to the police. They say, sit here, we're gonna find you like a place to sit after they offer me food.
It's just this sense of hopelessness of, and you're totally alone, and everything's different from language to food to culture, everything. I didn't know any of that when he first came to me, and it's just come out bit by bit.
After one day, I say, oh, I just want to continue running. I just want to go jogging. And I just get up from hospital, jog. I cannot able to jog like 15 minutes. And I was like, my head was spinning around, dizzy, and I have to stop and just walk back home. I talked to my caseworker. I told him like, I just need like a coach to train or where to train those kinds. I said, okay, I'm gonna help you.
I was actually coaching down at Olympic Park, and this fellow just approached me and he says, oh, are you a coach? And I said, yes, I'm a coach. He says, I'm an athlete, you coach me. And I just looked at him and said, well, can you run? And he goes, a little. And I said, well, OK, let me have a look at you. I only took a few steps and you could see he couldn't just run. This guy was pretty special. But when he was living on the streets, he was literally getting food out of the bins and begging people for money to go and buy food. So he was turning up to training and wasn't really even eating. So that was a big factor. So the first part was we just had to get him settled. The athletics is the easy part. It was about getting his life under control and just your basic day-to-day necessities. So that was the first part of it, but it's just fallen into place as we've gone.
John, he just like a guardian to me, just like a father to me. And he helped me a lot, like physically, like emotionally. He helped me like a lot.
I don't know if there's divine intervention or what it is, but as much as I have helped him, he's helped me too. And, I learn a lot of lessons from my athletes, and I've learned a lot of lessons from Buster.
So you're leading with your chin. Lead with your chest instead, not your chin.
Well, I spent a number of years living in Tasmania, and I loved the time I had down there with the Institute of Sport. And so I knew the community down there, and I approached them about bringing a group of athletes down there to run. The Burnie Gift is one of the world's oldest professional foot races, where you run off a handicap and you get money for it. Because Buster was running so well, they put him at what they call as a back mark. So he was right at this off scratch and had to run people down. And as the competition went, he just seemed to get better and better. He's an absolute competitor. He's one of the best competitive athletes I've ever worked with. And as the gift went on, he seemed to get better and better. And of course, the Burnie Gift comes up and he comes through and wins it. And he gets, around about a $10,000 cheque. And over the course of the 3 competitions that we went to down there, Devonport, Latrobe and Burnie, Buster had won about $12,500. So it was such a, to come from this person who'd been getting food out of the bins to having that money, it was just fantastic. But the thing that really, it highlights the nature of the person that I'm working with here. We were at the airport about to fly back and we were all pretty happy. And one of the girls in the squad, she just said to me, oh, look what Buster gave to me. And she holds up $500 in cash. And I went, oh, really? And another one of the boys goes, oh, he gave me money too. And I went, oh, Buster. And I took him aside and I said, mate, you can't give your money away. And he says, Coach, I come here with no money at all. And these people, they didn't win anything down here. It's important. Everybody gets something and we all go back happy. We've all got something out of it. I learned a very valuable lesson that day from my athlete.
Running, I can say running, it changed a little bit my life too. Because of running, I didn't do something, it's not illegal or steal or trying to do something, I don't have to do. Because of running, it made me to focus more on running.
There's a team that the IOC, the International Olympic Committee, put together, and they march under the Olympic flag. And look, in many respects, I think that really embodies, it's such a powerful symbol of the world, of people that are displaced. And it brings them together at the Olympic Games and shows the world we've got other people here that we've got to care for. Look, he's close to being selected in that team, but he's got to keep persevering. Almost pray for the humanity of the Australian government that they'll allow him residency to stay here, let him put his life here. He'll run for Australia. So if it's not going to be in Tokyo, hopefully we're going wee-wee in Paris in a few years from now.
Australia is just like a home to me because of for me, I have a family here. like my fiance, coach, and my workplace, my training partner. Like those people like around me, they just like help me a lot in like a different kind of ways.
Well, Joe, I'm very disappointed to say, but sadly, Buster hasn't qualified for Tokyo. He ran a time of 20.95 seconds at the Festival Athletics in Queensland, which unfortunately is 11th of a 100th of a second outside the Olympic qualifying time. But Johnny's coach said it was a brutal headwind that shaved time off. He was expecting him to run a bit quicker, but that is the heartbreak and the joy that the Olympics brings.
Oh, he is such a positive person, though. His first reaction was to focus on Paris for the next Olympics. I really hope he gets there. What about when he won the Bernie gift? He gave all his teammates a handout because they didn't win anything. He's so generous and what an amazing person.
Almost have to explain to Buster that, you know what, your prize money's important. He was giving it away to people because he wanted everyone to share in it. It's an amazing story, and there's going to be some great stories too with Tokyo just around the corner.
Yes, now, Dus, let me change gears a little bit. Let me ask you a question. Could ancient civilizations hold the key to raising happier kids? We meet the best-selling US author who believes they do next on the House of Wellness.
Now, Joe, if you go online, most websites list 4 main parenting styles. Let me talk you through it.
Okay.
A disciplinarian, permissive or indulgent, authoritative, which means you sort of treat your kids like small adults, and I suppose the last category, uninvolved or neglectful. Now, do you identify with one of those categories?
I'm definitely not a disciplinarian. Terrible. I'm so slack.
Does Daz do that or not?
No, he's slack too. I think we're definitely not neglectful. I think authoritative in that I suppose I treat her as my equal, my daughter, but I only have one. It's much easier for me. You've got 4. So.
Yeah. And I'd like another category. I like to think of being conscious, is that you're conscious of trying to do a good job. You're not sure you always are,
Yes.
but, you know, maybe a little bit of the disciplinarian sometimes.
You have to be. You've
Yeah,
got 4.
the system doesn't work unless there are a few rules and a few boundaries. Plenty of love as well.
Yes, well, we used to phrases like tiger mother or helicopter parent, which Daz accuses me of all the time, someone who's constantly hovering over their children. Well, now a science journalist has come up with a new style called hunter-gatherer parent.
Dr. Micheline Duclef spent time with some of the oldest cultures in the world to discover their secrets to raising happy, well-adjusted kids, and she has some very interesting things to say.
So tell us about the main places you visited for your research.
The Maya live in small. Some of them live in small villages. They're agriculturists. They're farmers. But there's been a lot of research. Psychology and anthropologists have done a lot of research on how the Maya parents raise incredibly helpful kids. We're talking about kids that voluntarily do chores, you know, that you don't have to ask, they just see what needs to be done and do it. The Inuit, who live up in the Arctic Circle from about Alaska to Greenland, they have this incredibly sophisticated way of teaching children emotional regulation, so how to control anger. And then finally, the Hadzabe are incredibly skilled at raising confident, self-sufficient children. And the parents there taught me the secret to what that is.
It's like you have selected the qualities you want in your child and then found it around the world in parenting to learn from it. What did you observe about these parents in the 3 different parts of the world?
One of the big core elements is that children are welcomed into the adult world. So every task that we did when we were with the Hadzabe families, whether it was like collecting firewood, hunting, going to get water, digging tubers, every task that was done, children were welcome and they were asked to participate in very small ways. And I think what this does, and I think it's one of the things that we're missing in Western parenting, is that it teaches children to work together and cooperate with their family and work together as a team so that they learn that these things are shared responsibilities and then they come much, much easier. You don't have to nag, you don't have to yell. The kid just naturally does it because they've been doing it for so long.
The other thing I really love about this is it's teaching the child that they're valued and that their contribution is valuable.
Yes, absolutely. This is actually huge, because we often think that kids are motivated by like praise and pleasing us. But a lot of psychological evidence shows that kids are actually really motivated when you accept their contribution, when they make a difference and can contribute to what's going on. Their motivation skyrockets.
In your book, you talk about team parenting. Can you step us through what TEAM stands for?
Yes. So T is for togetherness. So this idea of doing things together. So one of the big differences in many cultures around the world than in Western parenting is that there aren't these child-centered activities. So activities that are just for children and that parents would never do otherwise. Instead, the adults go about their regular lives and include the child. So the laundry is done together, the cooking is done together, all activities are together. And this makes life so much easier, right? Because then when you have to leave in the morning to go to work, or you have to leave the playground or the park together, the kid goes because the kid has been doing things together with you. The E in teen parenting is encouraging. And in the book, you'll read about all these tools that encourage children to do things instead of forcing them, because nobody likes to be forced to do something. I don't like it. Why would my daughter like it, right? And so these tools, I think, really reduce conflict and tension, because children start to know and understand what's right with their own thinking, come to the right answer themselves. A is for autonomy, allowing the child to make decisions from moment to moment within reason, but giving them this sense of choice of what they're doing in their lives. But it's not just complete independence. In all of the cultures in the book and in many cultures around the world, parents also require children to be helpful, kind, and share. So you can do what you want from moment to moment, but you have to also look for ways to help other people, be respectful, and share. And I think what this does is it brings a cohesion to the family and reduces conflict and tension, because you're teaching the child to be a good family member. And then finally, M is minimal interference, which is this idea that you step back and you let children explore and learn on their own, but you watch and you pay attention. And if the child really needs something, you step in with a very gentle interference, a gentle guidance.
What about when children throw tantrums? What have you observed in the parents in these different parts of the world when their child is tantruming?
So in many parts of the world, parents will divide the tantrums into two categories. One is moments where the child doesn't have the emotional ability to control themselves. So these are the little babies and the toddlers, almost all their tantrums are seen this way, as like the child just doesn't know yet how to control their emotion. And so the parent will actually actively show and help the child calm down. And they see this as a skill that they have to teach the child to know how to calm down. And they do that by being calm themselves and showing them how to regulate their body and their emotions. Now, the second category is this idea that as children get older, they have tantrums when they really shouldn't be having them, and that they have the ability to control their emotion, and they shouldn't be doing that. So 5, 6, 7, 8 is when parents will just completely ignore the tantrum, or they'll tell the child to go outside, basically lead them outside. And you have to go calm yourself down. You have to kind of step up your emotional regulation.
We talk a lot about this term helicopter parenting in Western culture. Did you see any of that?
Oh gosh, no, it's like the complete opposite. But it's not free range. I make this distinction very much. There is always somebody watching. I think these parents know that helicopter parenting, causes so much stress, so much anxiety, but it also holds kids back. It keeps kids from learning and growing through self-exploration. In one of the hunter-gatherer communities, the word to learn and teach is the same, right? So they say that a child is teaching themselves or learning, through teaching themselves. And I think we do a disservice when we're constantly on children.
I love that as a challenge to us to be calm with our kids, especially when they're throwing a tantrum. We don't want to reflect what they're doing. We want to mirror some calm behaviour.
And the idea that we should learn from the ancient cultures makes complete sense. I think we've lost our way big time on that. We're surrounded by more people, but we've got less community. spent a fair bit of time out on some of the remote Indigenous communities in Australia, and they've got such brilliant systems around the teenage years, the outside role models coming in and making sure you support, particularly through 13 and 14 years of age. They have their social issues, we know, which are really complex as well. But I think we've lost a lot of the smart things that our ancestors did with parenting. We can learn a lot, for sure.
Yes, that's true.
Welcome back to the House of Wellness Kitchen, where we care about every single one of your 206 adult bones. And Zoe, we're on a bit of a mission today to show people how they can look after their bone health and flexibility.
That's absolutely right, Heinzie, and it comes down to vitamin D and collagen.
Don't forget the eggs here, which actually contain both. You can get collagen in the egg white and actually vitamin D in the yolk. How cool is that?
Jackpot. You know what? Eggs are one of the few foods that naturally contain vitamin D, so we normally get it when our skin is exposed to sunlight.
And without that precious vitamin D, our intake of calcium, arguably one of the most well-known nutrients for bone health, could be in decline.
That's right, Heinzie. Vitamin D plays such an important role when it comes to calcium absorption in our body. And making sure we're getting sufficient amount of the sunshine vitamin is so important when it comes to calcium. It can work its magic and help support bone density, particularly when we hit around 30, when our bone mass starts to decrease and we need more support.
That ageing process will get you every time, Zoe, plus our natural levels of collagen decline as the wrath of age kicks in.
Which is a shame for your bone health, because collagen actually appears as the softer part of your bone encased by the harder calcium mineral. Collagen not only helps to support your body, but helps it move more freely.
Isn't it funny, Zoe? When I was growing up, I used to think calcium was the be-all and end-all when it came to bone health, but there is so much more going on. And speaking of going on, these muffins are looking so good.
And to help keep us moving and strong, Heinzie, vitamin D and collagen come in supplement form.
Love your work, Zoe, just as much as I am loving these muffins now. Bon appetit. You like what I did there? The A to Z of Vitamins is brought to you by Australin, Australia's #1 bone health brand.
Heinzie and Zoe there with what's got to be the best food combination of all time. I just love it, bacon and egg.
Got to admit, I don't eat a lot of bacon these days, but the smell and that combination, it's almost irresistible.
Oh, yeah, and the crispier the better for that bacon. You want it to basically break your teeth off. I love it. Because we see food before we taste it, we really do eat with our eyes, and that's why Heinzie recommends filling our plates with colour. Apart from getting a great variety of food types, the colour makes the plate just look more appealing.
Still to come. I'm going to change pace now because Hamish McLaughlin, superstar commentator, I worked with him on Saturday Night Footy, host of the Olympics. He's throwing his support behind keeping kids safe, so looking forward to that.
Plus, the doctor's car prescribe a crash course in antibiotics right after this.
Welcome back. Most of us have been put through a course of antibiotics at some stage, Joe, and there's a lot of discussion around how frequently they should be prescribed.
Yeah, once they were prescribed for just about everything. Do you remember as a kid, that just the minute you had a sore throat, tonsillitis, antibiotics? But the biggest threat of overuse, according to the World Health Organization, is antibiotic resistance. So taking too many can be detrimental. But what I want to know is if probiotics are great for our gut health, how can antibiotics be good for us too? Here to help us take our medicine right, it's the doctor's car.
Now, Dr. Nick, in this day and age, we take it for granted that we can treat bacterial infections pretty easily with antibiotics.
So let's nail this one down straight away. Antibiotics only work for bacterial infections. Virus infections, the minor ones like common colds and coughs, or the nasty ones, HIV and COVID, do not respond to antibiotic.
So before we used antibiotics to treat practically everything, what did we used to do?
Well, that's the point. They don't treat pretty much everything.
Well, I know, but you know what I mean.
But actually, we've only had antibiotics about 75 years. So before then, even a minor infection like a throat or ear, our immune system might fight it off, but even these could kill you.
Yeah, and up to 90% of kids that were infected with bacterial meningitis would actually die from the condition.
Terrible.
And the life expectancy for adults in the 19th century was around 50 years, and this was primarily due to infectious diseases. That was until the invention of the first antibiotic, which is, of course, penicillin, which actually was discovered by chance.
And I absolutely love this story because there was a researcher, scientist called Sir Alexander Fleming. Now, he must have been a bit careless because he went on holiday and he left one of his sample plates on the bench. And when he came back, there was mould growing all over it. And what he saw was that the mould was killing the bacteria. And this led to the discovery of what we now know is penicillin.
The first patient treated with penicillin was a policeman who had a really nasty spreading infection on his face. So they gave him a couple of shots of this new drug.
Now, I'd have been a bit sceptical about someone injecting me with this new substance just for an infection on my face.
Miraculously, the infection actually started to clear up. That wasn't until they ran out of penicillin, and unfortunately, he died 2 weeks later.
Which is a really sad story, but since then, we've developed stacks of new antibiotics. So that infections like tuberculosis, syphilis, gonorrhea and so on, they all became treatable. But Dr. Isabel, antibiotics are also a victim of their own success, aren't they?
Yeah, so bacteria are very clever little organisms, and when we started using antibiotics widely in both farming and in medicine, they began to change and adapt. And nowadays, there are bacteria that are resistant to virtually all the antibiotics that we have, which is pretty scary.
Yes, because these days up to 1 million people die worldwide every year from antibiotic-resistant disease. And unless we do something, that figure is projected to rise tenfold by 2050. So, Dr. Isabel, what do we need to do?
Well, the first thing we need to do is stop using it so widely in farming, where it's sometimes used just to help the animals grow more quickly.
And it's really important that doctors like us prescribe our antibiotics more responsibly.
That's right, and that includes teaching patients about side effects of antibiotics because they work against our natural bacteria and they can kill off our gut microbiome, which Joe is so fond of.
Joe absolutely loves her gut microbiome.
And for good reason, but it can also include things like increasing your risk of developing resistance to antibiotics by up to 3-fold within the next year, as well as nasty side effects such as diarrhea and thrush.
So it's really important we only take antibiotics when we really need them, not just because.
Thank you, Dr. Nick.
And thank you, Dr. Isabel.
Well, can you believe, Joe, that penicillin was discovered less than 100 years ago?
That is amazing. It's about the same time another almost as important invention was happening, mascara.
You're linking penicillin to mascara.
Bear with me, okay?
Right.
It's been used since ancient Egyptian times. Women in the Victorian era made their own by mixing ash and elderberry juice on a plate and applying the hot mixture to their eyelashes. I know you wanted to know that, Daz. But
riveted by
it was 100 or so years ago that American businessman developed a revolutionary new mascara company, named it for his sister, Mabel, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Hi, I'm Jake Kisnorbo and welcome to my world of beauty. From the latest trends in skincare and makeup to creating a look that's just right for you, I've got the tips and tricks to make you look and feel great from the inside out. Sarah, when I think of my much-loved makeup kit, mascara is always a standout. And even my first memories with makeup, I was a dancer, and when I was around 4 or 5, the mascara went on. And then once again, when I became a professional artist, it was really one of my first purchases to add to my professional kit. So mascara and me have a really good relationship.
So do we. I was actually an early starter too because of dancing. I added it to my kit around the age of 3. But now, when you get asked that question about a desert island, what would you take for survival? I wouldn't say food, I wouldn't say water, I would say mascara. I cannot live without it.
So when we're looking at mascara, we're always wanting those beautiful, thick, volumized eyelashes. And the great thing is Maybelline New York have always delivered when it comes to mascaras, And today we get to play with Maybelline New York's brand new colossal 36-hour mascara.
36 hours?
36.
In 36 hours, I could swim to my desert island and swim back, all with this intact.
Actually, you could. And it's waterproof.
Oh, amazing.
Maybelline New York, as a brand, I have worked with, I've been lucky to work with over the years. They are an attainable makeup brand that evolve with the beauty lover. And they think of the makeup lover at home, they think of the mum, the young girl. And I really love that everyone can have a piece of glamour in their kit with something as simple as a mascara. So this formula, Sarah, is really hard-working. It's flaking resistant, smudging resistant, waterproof, all whilst locking in that volume.
Oh, and that is so important with mascara, because the worst thing is getting through a whole day at work and getting to a mirror and thinking you look amazing and then realising you've had panda eyes for the last half of the day.
No one wants panda eyes. But I think what I love about this mascara is the Mega Brush. So when applying mascara, I know I've done your makeup over the years, you want to add that volume more through the centre of the eye, whereas someone like me really likes to fan it out and elongate it. Sarah, your lashes are looking volumized and bold, loving them. However, you know me, I'm a makeup girl, so I'm never going to stop there. I am going to add a brand new Tattoo Smoky gel eyeliner pencil. And what this does is just going to intensify and make those lashes stand out even more. I'm going to apply it just to the top of your top lid, just the outer corner and across near the lash line.
Amazing. You know, when it comes to the eyes, more is better for me, but particularly when I'm going out at night time, I love to add a bit of that smoky eye to just look a little bit more bold and dressed up. So
love a smoky.
Love a smoky.
Hi, always good to see you. Tell me about Kids Foundation and your passion for it.
I think as a father does, with kids who I'm always trying to keep safe, yeah, it sort of struck a chord when Joe Stuckey, who's the chair of the Kids Foundation, introduced it to me. There's 5,000 kids do harm to themselves every day through an accident in some way, shape or form. That might be through not being taught how to live a safe life. And what the Kids Foundation does is try and make sure that every Australian kid lives a safe life.
So what sort of education does the Kids Foundation do?
They touch 400,000 kids a year through about 10,000 sort of early learning centres and facilities, and they're always trying to make sure that kids understand the dangers. We're sitting here in Albert Park and there's a lake there. If you can't swim, don't push your little brother in. If there's a dog over there that you don't know, don't go and attack it. If there's matches over there, don't set the house on fire. And you say that and think that couldn't possibly happen, but all of those things happen. And it's about just being safe every day. And I thought there was an opportunity for all of us to get involved and try and help the kids.
As well as educating young minds to prevent accidents from occurring, the Kids Foundation also provides support to children who have experienced serious injury or trauma, such as Melbourne's Matt Teal.
I was born in 1996, and at the age of 3, I was burnt in a car fire. Growing up as a burn survivor was a bit difficult because obviously I was different and other people would realise that as well. And yeah, going to outside anywhere really was tough for me because I would get a lot of comments and stares from not only kids but adults as well. It sort of made me feel like I wasn't really normal or couldn't fit in sort of thing. And that's why it was hard basically to go anywhere that wasn't school, church or home really.
Tell us about what the Kids Foundation does to support young kids who've experienced trauma.
They put them together essentially, through camps. There might be a burn victim or someone who's been attacked by a dog and they've lost their confidence, so they don't really want to go back to school. And you know, they have these camps all around Australia. Might be 10, 15, 20, 30 kids all go together and they get their confidence back. And it's a simple exercise that really changes lives.
Matt attended the first of his many Kids Foundation camps when he was 10 years old.
That was such an eye-opener for me because I actually realised that there was other people that actually had burns as well, and I didn't actually realise that. It really helped me to realise that I could actually go outside and do everything that I wanted to, essentially. So right now I've moved out of home, I'm living by myself, I've got my own business, and actually like going out and encountering people and meeting new people and stuff like that. I don't think I ever would have really done that, because I think I would have had a lot more issues had it not been for the Kids Foundation and the camps.
And Hayne, what can people do to support the foundation?
In August, gloves have been made for $10. You can buy these at putyourhandup.org.au, and all the money goes to running the foundation.
Basically, this campaign is putting your hands up for children suffering from trauma or injuries and stuff, and helping to prevent that. So buying gloves just helps that little bit.
Those foundations need great people. All comes at a cost. The camps come at a cost. The education campaigns come at a cost. And if you can afford the $10, it would be great for you if you're looking at home at this segment to buy a set.
Yeah, couldn't think of a more worthwhile thing to get behind the future health of our kids and the generations to come. Well done, as always, mate. You're getting behind great causes. This is a particularly special one.
Thanks, Darcy, for having me on.
Darcy there with Hamish McLaughlin. Another big-name supporter of the AFL is Tammy Roos, the wife of AFL legend Paul Roos. Tammy's a great friend of ours, and her take on life, wellness and self-care is always inspiring. Here she is with the latest in holistic health.
Tammy, it's lovely to see you. And since we're chatting wellness, I love that we've kind of done this earthy matching thing.
Absolutely. Coordinated.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And since you are an expert in the field of personal wellness, I know it's different for all of us, but I'd love to know, what is personal wellness to you?
Personal wellness for me is really about having that intentional or conscious thinking about what's going to work for me. What do I need in my day-to-day to make me feel happier, or is it have more energy, or perhaps I just need some more clarity or even less stress. So personal wellness for me is about working with what suits my lifestyle, maybe my habits, my personality.
Absolutely. I think it's interesting how disconnected we can become sometimes from how our body and our wellness is going, but mindfulness brings you back to that connection. It's so important.
Absolutely. And I think, again, mindfulness really is having the awareness to be aware of what you need in the moment. So it allows you then to actually respond rather than react. And it's a really critical difference. So it's really helpful for anyone that's really trying to, I guess, enhance a better mindset or more positivity and just, again, feel more joy.
Tell us how your relationship with Wanderlust came about.
Look, it's amazing. I was always drawn to the brand. I love their philosophy being find your true north is just something I'm so aligned with. So it was a pretty easy fit, I guess, for me. There was a lot of synergies there. And just the fact that they were drawing forth so many amazing yoga teachers and meditation teachers, nutrition. I think it was a match of just our likes. So drawn to the product with their new amazing product range and also their events that they've held.
So at Wanderlust, we believe looking after yourself is the #1 priority. And we believe in the power of plants. So having plant active, 100% vegan supplements, we know is going to help daily lifestyles, and taking care of yourself means that you'll be able to take care of those around you, of your community, and also the beautiful planet on which we live. So the Wanderlust range has 14 liquid herbal extracts targeted for specific health needs. At Wanderlust, we've questioned everything we've done, from the use of plastic packaging to animal-derived ingredients and the way that we process our products. So liquid herbal extracts can be used in a variety of ways. You can drop them straight onto your tongue with the dropper format, or you can drop into water, juice, smoothies, tea, coffee, whatever takes your fancy.
What do you think the everyday person could appreciate about the liquid herbal extracts?
Well, besides the ease of use, the fact that they're actually based out of nature and nature's wisdom is incredibly important to me, because I truly believe, just like we have our own wisdom within, nature does too. So, for example, Wanderlust Skull Cap, which is a great calmative. Another great one is Wanderlust Siberian ginseng, which actually supports energy levels and is an adaptogen. So products like that can just work with the busy modern lifestyle that we're all experiencing. I just find that way we can actually really step out our door again, just helping us nurture what we need.
What busy modern lifestyle? Doesn't sound familiar at all.
Exactly.
Well, Joe, everybody gets them at some point in their lives. They're incredibly annoying. They come out of nowhere, can be very uncomfortable, and I think everyone's got a theory about how to get rid of them. I'm talking about...
Hemorrhoids.
No. Probably hiccups was what I was going to go with, Joe, but we can discuss that on another episode. You a hiccup sufferer?
No, but Willow gets them all the time. My daughter, she's 12, and it's like torture for her. Mum, how do I get rid of these hiccups?
Joe, I've got to confess that I have historically had a pretty irrational amount of upset when I get hiccups. I get genuinely crackhead, and Beck's like, just get over it. It's hiccups. I can't get over it. They're still with me. And
but the more tense you get, the less likely they are to go away, because you've got to relax your diaphragm.
Like Beck, and it doesn't help. They keep coming. They keep going. Try drinking out the back of a glass.
That works every time.
No, not for me.
No. Oh, okay. Well, if you've tried everything,
I've tried everything
to get rid of them, a team of scientists in the US say they've come up with a new answer. It's called, okay, Darcy, you ready?
I'm ready.
The Forced Inspiratory Suction and Swallow Tool, or FIST, which is really, it's a straw. But it's an L-shaped, rigid straw that has a mouthpiece on one end, an adjustable cap with a small hole at the other end.
Everyone's got one of those, Joe, but does this one actually work or not?
Well, according to the scientists, the device stopped 92% of cases. There's always that 8%, does, who knows? But it's probably a better result than going, scaring people.
It's always worth a try, though, I think. On that note, that is it for today. Head to our website if you'd like more information on anything from today's show.
I'm on the radio with Gerald Quigley every Sunday, and look out for the House of Wellness lift out with writer and positive body activist Jessica Vanderlei on the cover.
Thanks for watching, and as always, thanks to our great friends at Chemist Warehouse. And until next time, stay safe and keep well.